All right, let's run it. Okay, so as y'all see, I got my green screen behind me because I'm about to start streaming in a second. But before I did that, I was watching this video. Um, his YouTube, the content creator that I'm talking about, his YouTube is called Hot Damn I Rock, right? The person's name is Kane Carter. Today was the first time I ever watched him, and I'm mad at myself that I didn't know about his channel before today. The dude is interesting, very intelligent and articulate, And the things that he alluded to made me realize something. A lot of us um, are just like him in the sense that, in the video that he was making, in the sense that a lot of us, if we're not doing it now, we were doing it sometime in the past. We're not being for real. We're not being true to ourselves. And I realized I wasn't as well. Let's re let's rewind. Let's turn back the hands of the clock to 2006. Right? It was 15 years ago. Damn, I'm getting old. Anyway, that was 15 years ago. I was 14 years old, or almost 14 years old at the time. So I was 13. I looked up. I was in the seventh grade because my birthday's in March. So I turned 13 before the end of the school year. So I was 13. I looked up. I realized my grades were slipping. I was probably about to fail the seventh grade, which subsequently I did fail the seventh grade. Um, I'm hanging around niggas who are also failing, but because they were living a lie, that at the time I was so naive, I didn't realize they were living a lie. I thought they were living some shred of reality that I wanted for myself. They were popular. They had friends. Um, they got attention from girls, right? They were cool. I mean, y'all know me now. Y'all know me enough now to know the type of person I am. I am the person now that I was at that time, in a sense. I was the anime watching, glasses wearing, short, skinny kid who was raised in the church, whose parents were very loving and supportive, but also stern. They weren't overly strict, but they were stern. They disciplined me right, so I knew better. But because of peer pressure and the fear of being different, I subjected myself to living a lie, and I didn't know it at the time. To give you context, um, I noticed that because I struggled with math, and I still struggle with math, that was a subject that was so important that I was stressing myself out over it. Because why are people who sit right next to me figuring this stuff out and I can't? Why? And I'm smart, is what I'm telling myself. I'm smart. Why can't I figure this stuff out? And the people who I wanted to be like didn't care. That stress wasn't on them. They didn't have that weight on their shoulders to perform and to perform well. They didn't have that. So I started to behave like that, and for a while, it made me feel better. Um, I didn't deny who I was as a person per se to other people. I was denying it to myself. Um, for the most part, I kept the majority of my personality intact, but I started to walk around with this chip on my shoulder that I unintentionally put there myself. And that chip was to get respect from your peers. You have to be a dog ass nigga. is what we used to call it on the street. To y'all know it as you had to be someone who commanded respect, who walked around with a sense of aggression and lethality, that if you were crossed, you were going to get lethal. That aggression would come out of you. You had to walk around with that to get respect, is what I thought. But it wasn't until I started failing and people who I used to hang around, the dumb jock, the hoods, I started hanging around those people. And I started molding myself into the kind of person that they were. Right? Mind you, I'm an adolescent at the time. A lot of people do that. I started molding myself into that person at the time, and it didn't work. I failed 7th grade twice, consecutively. My dad was threatening to kick me out. Because mind you, I'm almost 16 now. Right? I'm 15 and a half. I'm almost 16 at the time. I was getting my ass whooped at home, rightfully so, because I knew better. But because because I tried to use me changing my personality as an excuse to not try harder at math. Right? So I look up, it's 2007, right? It's 2007, almost 2008. I got approached by a man named Richard L. Murphy. I'll never forget him. He was my geography teacher my second time in 7th grade, right? And the man was just, when I say comfortable in his own skin, just unbelievably, inhumanly calm always. Here I am walking around with this aggression. Some of it I inherited from my father, and then the rest of it was an illusion. Right? I've always had a bit of a temper. I'm a Aries. I've always had a bit of a temper, you know. But that chip on my shoulder was put there by me because I was mad at myself that I wasn't enjoying life because I was failing school. I had very little friends. Girls laughed at me. They didn't take me serious because, you know, again, I was short, I was skinny, and I wore glasses. Had I known at the time how nerds and anime fans run shit now, had I known that, that would have never taken place. Having said that, that's not an excuse to be someone that you're not. But you know, when you're 13, 14, 15 years old, you don't know that. You don't know that you're lying to yourself until somebody else tells you that you are. Richard Murphy was that person who told me that I was. So, mind you, I got put in this program. It was called Pre-GI. Pre-Graduation Initiative. It's a skip program for students like myself who have failed a grade once or twice. It is a last chance to get you back on track. So I got enlisted in that program when I was 15, and the whole idea was you do 8th, 9th, and 10th grade work all in the same year, and if you pass, you get propelled to the 11th grade. Your rightful spot. You get propelled to, you get to skip 9th and 10th grade, because I was technically an 8th grader, and put in the 11th grade. Great deal, right? And I went through the program, and it was a success, but I struggled. Not with the math, not with the work. The work was surprisingly, you know, I wouldn't say easy, but I got it. 3rd time's the charm, right? I was finally able to pass that type of work. So, but I was having a personality crisis at the time. That chip was still on my shoulder. And the chip was on my shoulder because, again, I was mad at myself. I felt like to get respect from people, I had to be the angry kid who didn't care about where I ended up. So, to get that out of us, Mr. Murphy took us on our own version of Scared Straight. And he took us down to the juvenile detention center here in Jacksonville. And they had some inmates come and speak to us and tell us all the crimes that they had committed. And They said something that shocked me. They said we were in your shoes and our life went down the tubes at the exact same point in time yours is. We failed 1 or 2 grades. We were getting in fights. We were getting suspended from school, which I was. Getting suspended for fights, for skipping school. I was doing all that dumb shit, right? And they were like, "This is where it went wrong. Where you guys are now, that's where it went. That's where it went wrong, right?" And I was just like, "Oh shit, well, I don't want to go in here." But that still wasn't enough. Sometime later, I'm about to get in a fight with this student in class. It was over nothing. It was over nothing. And I remember his name was Joshua Kinney. Mr. Murphy pulled me to the side, because we were at each other's throats. He pulled me to the side and he says, "Can I tell you something? Darian, you're one of my smartest and most talented and most creative students that I've ever had. I've been teaching for 15 years. Did 20 years in the military, 15 years as a teacher." And he says, can I let you in on the secret? Nobody cares that you're angry. You've almost gotten in a fight with everybody in this class. And when you go home, you're angry. When they go home, they can give a damn about you. They go home and sleep just fine. Whatever this chip is on your shoulder, you don't need it to get respect. You get respect by getting results. By being smart. He said the most respected people on the planet are also the most intelligent. For the most part, the people who apply themselves. They get the most respect. They get girls. They get money. I don't think there's ever been a more reoccurring conversation that plays over and over in my head than that one. For some reason, I couldn't overlook what he was saying. Like, it made so much sense. And then I turned 16, and I'm like, he's right. This angry, overly aggressive, fake jock that I was trying to be, this hood ass nigga that I was trying to be, that's not me. I'm the glasses wearing, Adidas rocking anime fan who loves crime drama and that loves mob movies, and I draw, I skateboard. That's the real me. And I was denying myself prominence because I was afraid of something and I didn't know. I was living a lie and didn't know. So I had to reinvent myself. I shed all of this phony ass personality that I had. It was when I thought about it after the fact, after I had changed, I was so embarrassed with myself that I let myself stray from the path that far. And my parents were there the whole time. Then I realized I'm putting my people through shit that they shouldn't be going through. They got to explain to my uncles and my aunts why their smart son is doing dumb nigga shit. They got to explain that. So I'm humiliating my parents. My sister actually is excelling. Like, everything she's doing, she's excelling. She's struggling here and there as a person. Everybody will. But she's excelling. And somebody who's only 2 years younger than her is going down. I had to change. I buckled down. I passed the program. Got put in the 11th grade. I started high school as an upperclassman. Right? And it was the coolest shit ever because everybody I went to school with at Frank H. Peterson, they were all smart. They were all anime fans. Right? Well, not all of them. But they were all smart. They all had something going for themselves. Everybody I went to school with was creative or super, super talented at something. I felt like I was already in college. Everybody was really witty and had a great sense of humor and chill. I loved that school, and that's where I learned how to use Photoshop and GarageBand and every other type of program that's in the Adobe Creative Suite. And I buckled down. I said, you know what? I now know who I want to be because I've been that person the whole time. I put him up in the closet for some reason, trying to appease somebody else. So when I really stopped giving a damn about what other people think, I found clarity. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna spend these only 2 years of high school, and it was the coolest shit ever because I was in a program while I was in high school called PBD, Performance Based Diploma. After you pass the PGI program, you get put in that one. You're in the 11th grade, you do 11th grade shit, but since we were in that program and we all had the same homeroom, they didn't have enough textbooks to give us homework. So for 2 years of high school, I had no homework. And had I kept going down the path I was going down, I would have missed out on that. I took the SATs, passed them. I took the ASVAB, passed it. I took the 10th grade FCAT, passed it. I finished high school before I finished high school. I had dozens of friends who, some of them went to middle school with me. I didn't even know that they were that damn cool. I didn't know that they were just like me. I had no clue. Why? Because I was unknowingly lying to myself. And now I look up today, now everybody wants to be the person that I am. Now everybody wants to be an anime fan. Now everybody's a nerd. Now everybody's wearing, slim cut jeans and graphic t-shirts and a dad hat. Now everybody's rocking designer brands and listening to rock music. Now everybody's watching the same movies I watch. Now everybody loves Star Wars. And the shit is so crazy because those same people who I was trying to be like in middle school are now the same people trying to be like me. And it's funny as hell because when you look around the landscape and you realize the most successful people on planet are just like me. And I tell you all these things not to brag about myself, but to give you context. One of the easiest things to do in life is also one of the hardest. Be yourself. Some of y'all know me from Amazon. Everybody thought I was a hoe because of how many women enjoy talking to me. And I would always ask them why, because I'm like, why do you think I'm such a hoe? They're like, man, all these girls are always in your face, and we hear them talk about how bad they want to sleep with you and all this other stuff, and I'm like, I just talk to them. That's one thing I can say. I've never had a problem talking to women, but at one point I had a problem with actually getting girls to like me. It wasn't until I stopped giving a fuck whether or not they did like me, that's when they started to like me. Because at that point, I started to like me. And they could see it. And to me, that was gospel. That was the greatest truth I've ever seen unfold in front of my very eyes. Be yourself. If you are uncomfortable with yourself, change yourself because you want to change. But not to appease anyone else. Most of these people are going to hell anyway. Never compromise who you are to gain someone else's favor. Never compromise who you are to fit in. You were scientifically designed, if you want to take the religion out of it, you were scientifically designed to not fit in. No two human beings on this planet has the same DNA. No two human beings have the same fingerprints. Even identical twins don't have the same fingerprints. You are two different people. You are different than the other 7 billion people on this planet. But that's not a bad thing. If anything, it's great. You're supposed to be different. You're supposed to stand out in your own way. Now, you'll see similarities of yourself with other people. But at the end of the day, there is one you. And since there's only one you, you have value. I can honestly tell people now that I have value because I believe that. I truly 100% believe that. Were there some changes I needed to make? Sure. I wanted to get stronger because I felt like me being stronger was a means to protecting myself. So I've been working out since I was 16. I wanted to be faster because that was a means of protecting myself. So I started running. I started skateboarding more. I realized how strong my legs was getting. So I kept doing that, and it made me feel good because I was doing that for me, not out of a sense of selfishness, but because that makes me feel good as a person. That I'm improving me because of me. So to anybody out there who feels like there's a part of you that you are hiding to appease other people, shed that veil of fucking lies. Not for me, but for you. It's hurting you. Whether you know that or not is irrelevant. It's hurting you. Not being who you are, who you were meant to be. And that's dope. That's dope.